it appears that Zerk over here wanted some tiger juice, so I hooked him up with some tiger juice. What's up, everybody? It's a Ripper here. I do have this will that I'm going to show you. This will was handwritten by Don Lewis. His own handwriting. There's 2 witnesses on it. A little over a week ago, or maybe less than a week ago, Carol came out with a video, and there's mention of Don Lewis being a horrible racist. This will that I have, one of the witnesses is Tommy Baker, who Don called Mr. Baker. Well, guess what? Mr. Baker was an African American. He's a witness on the will that Don Lewis hand wrote and signed. If he was such a horrible racist, why would he have an African American person being a witness on his will? That makes 0 sense to me. If you ask me, I'm going to say no, he was not a racist. Because a racist person would not have an African American signing documents. So the claim that she put out there that he was a horrible racist, I'm not buying it. And I'm not buying some of the other stuff that's being put out there either. The other witness on that will, Anne McQueen. 2 people that he trusted signed that will. The will that we saw that came out after he went missing, the witnesses, Susan Aronoff, someone he didn't like, Doug Edwards, another person that he would not have had sign that. That's not even the kicker. This will that I'm getting ready to show you specifically talks about Danny Lewis. He names Danny in this will. And I'm told from a witness who saw the will that was under Anne's desk. In that will, Don once again mentioned Danny specifically and actually had a specific dollar amount in that will. So we have a will from 1986, Don handwrote. We have the one that was under Anne's desk. And it mentions Danny and a specific dollar amount. The one from 1986 mentions Danny. The one that came out after he was gone, after he was murdered, does that one talk about Danny Lewis, his adopted son? We're going to find out. All right, so let me get to this will right now. One other thing, hold up. If it's determined that that will that came out after he was murdered, allegedly, is void and is a fraud, guess which will comes into place? His last known will would be the will that would come into place. So let's look at it. Let's see who gets what. Let's just say the will that came out and the power of attorney, let's say they've been proved to be a fraud. Therefore, this will is the binding legal document where his estate is going to be distributed. So let's check it out. Here we go. I know you want to see the front of it first, but I'm going to do the back first. Top signature, Anne McQueen. Middle signature, Tommy Baker. Bottom signature, Don Lewis. So Tommy Baker, who worked for Don, was an African American man. He's actual witness on this will for Don Lewis. You see Don's signature at the top there. It says foregoing instrument, part being printed and the residue written, was subscribed by the said Gail L. Rathbone. Gail is one of Don's daughters. I'm not going to read the rest of that. I'm going to flip this over. Let's read the front of it. All right, here we go. Here's the front of it. It says, first, I give, bequeath, and devise. This is his handwriting. First, half of all my personal and real estate properties to my wife Gladys. The other half is to be divided equally between my 4 children and their spouses. If Gladys is no longer alive, all is to be divided equally between my 4 children. So he had 3 daughters and 1 son, Danny. Here he mentions Danny specifically. Danny Lewis is to be put in a trust that Donna Pettis will handle. Also, Donna Pettis is to be my executor. Now, I don't know if he meant the executor of Danny's part or this will. I'm not real sure on that. It doesn't really matter, though. because below here it says, I make, constitute, and appoint 1. Gladys Lewis, 2. Gail Rathbone, 3. Donna Pettis to be my executors of this, my last will and testament, authorized hereby to pay my lawful debts, if any, and the funeral and burial expenses. In witness whereof, I hereunto subscribe my name and affix my seal the day of 12 February 1986. In the presence of attesting witnesses. There's Don Lewis's signature right there. It says Jack Donald Lewis, and you saw the other signatures on the back side that had Anne McQueen, Mr. Baker, and Don's signature. So this will, he actually mentions Danny in there. He's going to have Donna handle Danny's money. I find it very interesting that it's so detailed that 50% is to be divided by his 3 daughters and Danny also. All right, so let's look at the will that came out after he disappeared. Well, here it is. This is the will that you can see here. It's filed in September of 1997, a month after he's gone. It says, first, my durable power of attorney basically appoints Carol Lewis, my wife. Second, basically it's a DNR, do not resuscitate any workable organs to be donated to people in need and to science. And also the last sentence of that says, I wish to have the remainder cremated and my ashes delivered to my wife, Carol Lewis. Now, if you go back and look at the will that I put up the first time, well, there it is at the bottom, well, in the middle, I guess. It says, pay my lawful debts, if any, and the funeral and burial expenses. Burial means to be buried, not cremated. Big difference. So in the will that he handwrote in 1986, it says burial. But the one that came out that's in question, where we have handwriting experts that say signatures were traced and, it's a very suspicious document, it says cremated. Right there, last sentence. I wish to have the remainder cremated and my ashes delivered to my wife, Carol Lewis. Says nothing of the sort in the will that he handwrote in 1986. Now let me tell you something. If you are going to kill someone and you've poisoned them or you've done something to them, if you've killed someone, the easiest way to get rid of evidence is by fire. That's why some places are burned down. Sometimes people will kill someone and they burn the whole place down to get rid of evidence. But for a body, you cremate it, you've pretty much destroyed anything and everything that could be used as evidence. So this is the first of the family hearing or have heard that their dad ever wanted to be cremated. All right, let's continue. All right, this is the bottom part of it. It just says that he appoints Carol Lewis to be the personal representative of this last will and testament. Down at the bottom, we have the witness who is also the notary. Sandra Whitcop is the witness and also the notary on this document. Can the notary be the witness under Florida law? Can the notary also be the witness? This is page 1 of the will. And then you have the signature by Jack Donald Lewis, which I do believe that signature has been shown to be a trace of a different signature. Let's go to page 2. All right, page 2, we have Don's signature again, which I wonder if we superimpose that signature right there and the one on page 1, if they would be an exact match. I haven't tried it. I'm just guessing they probably would, but I don't have time to do it right now. I'm just so busy with things. But when I talked to Jim Moore, and that was the 3rd time I talked to Jim Moore when he came on the channel. FYI, I have some notes that I went through from the first time that I talked to him, and they're very interesting, these notes are. But the witnesses here, which Jim Moore said there's no way that Don would have had these 2 people be witnesses on his documents. Susan Aronoff and Doug Edwards. Now, if you take the signature down at the bottom of Susan's where it says witness, and the signature above on the page, the same page, just right above, and Doug's signatures. If you take those signatures right there and you superimpose them on top of each other, do you think they will be exact matches? I don't have time to do it, but if someone wants to do it, I'm telling you, those signatures, they look to be the exact same. Look up at Susan's signature up above, and then the one below. It looks the exact same. Everything looks exactly the same, and look how they're spaced above the line. So you're telling me that she signed her name 2 times and she wrote it straight as can be above that line by like 1/8 of an inch, and it doesn't go below the line at all? It looks like it's been pasted on there. Same signature, pasted in 2 places. Same thing with Doug's. You telling me that he signed his name exactly the same twice, and he just barely touched the line, the exact place each time? Well, it really looks like identical signatures, doesn't it? I've never looked at this document like that, but I bet if you superimpose these, I bet they're the exact same. They look exactly the same. I would bet a decent amount of money that these signatures just here on this page 2 are identical. They're not actual signatures. They're copy and pasted. How is this stuff not caught? Page 3. Once again, here's the notary for this whole thing, which was also the witness on page 1. So the notary was also the witness on page 1. I don't know. Maybe you can do that. I don't know. I don't know Florida law. But I'm guessing if you take this signature on page 3 and you look at the signature on page 1, I bet they're the exact same signature to a T. I bet there's not anything different on them. Anyway, this is page 3. This is the housekeeper. We know this notary stamp was mailed to the address at Easy Street. Not Sandra Whitcopp's house, but to Easy Street, to where Carol Lewis lived. We know that this notary signature is a big question mark. But there it is. Once again, on documents that are questionable, we have the same notaries involved. And it just happens that that stamp was sent to the person who actually benefited the most from these documents being forged. Just a coincidence? Anyway, this has gone on long enough. It's already 13, 14 minutes. And if I get into all the trust stuff, it's going to be another 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm just going to have to do another video on that stuff. So I will do it. That'll be the next one, will be on the trust. But it's important to get all this information out there and not go over it super fast. So let me know what you think. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe. If you haven't been here before, go to my playlist called Tiger King. The videos are in order of how they were made. If you go and you start from the very beginning and you watch them all, you will learn a whole crap load of information about this case. Go watch them all. Hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on all notifications. I will get this trust document video stuff out. I'll tell you what my theory is on it. Tell me down below in the comments, is this will that came out in 97 after Don was gone, is that the legal will? Or the one from 1986? Is the one from 1986 supposed to be the one that should be into effect today? Because that's the last known will that he actually signed that's not forged. Let me know in the comments. Everybody, stay safe. I'm Ripper, and I'm out.